before we open Flash and create a new project, let's just make sure that everyone's on equal terms by accessing this tutorial assets folder, which is a part of this course, so everyone will have it. As you can see, it contains quite a few graphic assets that we'll use throughout this course to develop our app's UI. But for now, we'll just focus on this useful links.txt file. We'll just go briefly through all of these 3 links now, starting from the top. So let's copy it and paste it into our web browser. Now, you can actually download from this website a 30-day trial of Adobe Flash Professional CC. So if you haven't installed Flash on your PC, or maybe you just want to have the latest version of the software, then this is definitely the website you should visit. Now, all you have to do is click in the upper right corner this free trial button here, and then fill in a few forms and you're ready to go. So let's just go back to the txt file and copy another link. This website is quite essential for every Flash developer who uses Adobe Air SDK in order to develop their apps. So it's always good to have the latest version of Adobe Air SDK installed on your PC, and I'll tell you why. For instance, when Apple came up with their new device called iPad Pro, you couldn't just simply develop an app for such a device using the older version of SDK. And there's a good reason why you couldn't do that, simply because the older version didn't support the new icon sizes. So as you can see, it's always good to stay up to date with such things, so you can meet such requirements or overcome certain problems. So I would like you now to download it. Here's the Mac OS X link, and here's the Windows one. So just choose whatever you want, and then release notes. This is where we're going. So click it, and at the very top, add 20, because this is the latest version we're interested in. And now on this website you'll find a lot of bug fixes and so on, but we're actually interested in new features introducing this version. So let's just click it. I mean, not too many changes in the iOS SDK upgrade and so on, so we'll just move to Android SDK upgrade. And here's actually something quite interesting. So this is where you actually want to get yourself familiarized with such release notes, and I'll tell you why. Because for instance, in this version, Adobe added the latest Android SDK version 24.3.4, which basically means that if you develop an application for using Android SDK 20, you wouldn't actually be able to run it on a device that's below Android OS 4.0. I mean, it's not really a big issue, since I assume that about 80% of all Android devices are above Android 4.0, so it's not like you're losing a huge market share or something like that. But if you, for instance, needed to develop such an app, you'd have to actually downgrade your Air SDK version to 19, and I will show you how to do it. If you ever needed to download an older version of Air SDK, all you have to do is visit this website. Let's just paste it. As you can see, this website actually contains archived Adobe Air SDK versions, and I mean not just a few latest versions, but all of them, absolutely all of them. As you can see, there's quite a lot of installers here. And one thing that I want you to remember, that you always have to go for the Air SDK compiler. If you needed like a Air 17, you always have to go look for the SDK and compiler version. Not the runtime itself. You have to go for the SDK and compiler. So just remember this website, because it actually can be quite useful and might come in handy in the future. So now let's just minimize this. So this is actually the Air 20 SDK compiler, which I downloaded from this website. And now we have to unzip it, and then when you do it, let's change its name to something like Air 20. It's not a requirement, and you'll see in a second why I'm doing it. So let's just copy it like this, and we'll paste it into Adobe Flash a directory, which in my case is program files. So let's just paste it here, continue. As you can see, I've already had Air SDK compiler, so I'd be forced to, I'd be forced to overwrite it, which I obviously didn't want to. So this is actually the Air 19 SDK, and here's Air 20. Let's leave it as it is now. We won't be needing this any longer, nor this. Let's just minimize both of them. Now we'll just open Adobe Flash. Now, for those who haven't worked in Adobe Flash before, a brief explanation. On the left side you have your recent projects. You probably won't have here anything. On the right side you have some learning materials, tutorials, stuff like that, and in the middle we have our project presets. Now let's just choose F for Android. The reason I've chosen this preset is to show you one thing. Now on the right side is target under publish, and let's click on this drop down menu, and you can actually see we have the Air 2.5, Air 17, Air 19, but we don't have Air 20. Now let's just add it. We have to add it first. So let's just go under help label here, click it, and choose manage Adobe Air SDK like this. Now you see the list with all the previously installed Air SDKs. Now let's click this plus, add new SDK, and now let's find our Air 20 SDK like this, and here it is. Click once and then click select folder, and it's added just like that. Okay, and let's just click here once again. Let's see the drop down menu, and you can now see that the Air 20 has been added successfully to our Adobe Flash. Now we can choose it, but for now, you know, it doesn't matter. Let's just click anywhere, and we'll just close this project because we won't be working in this one. We'll just make a new one. So let's just click the X here to close it like this, and now we'll actually make a project we'll be developing in, and it will be in ActionScript 3.0 preset. So let's just choose it like this, and now before we start, in the upper right corner you see this drop down menu. Let's click it, and we have here actually quite a few layout presets. So I'm using the classic one, and it's probably good for, especially for the new people who haven't worked in Flash, to also choose this preset. So it's going to be, you know, a lot easier for you to follow. Of course, there are people who are a lot more experienced, so they can choose whatever, you know, they want. For instance, you know, let's go with Animator. As you can see it completely changes the layout of the software. I mean, it's pretty okay for certain, like, let's look, designer. Might be, you know, certain tools are put in a way to, you know, make your work a lot easier, but usually I'm just working the classic layout. So let's choose classic, and now let's go here, edit, label, and let's just go with the preferences. And here we can also change a few things. Well, namely, I'm interested in this one, user interface. I'm using dark preset, which is really nice for my eyes. I mean, I like the dark preset more, but maybe you want the lighter version. As you can see, there's also shading option. So whatever suits you, I'll be working in dark. But just so you know where to change it, and let's just click OK. And now let's just change the dimensions of our project, because as you can see, it's quite small. I mean, 550 by 400 is just too small for what we'll be doing. So let's just go with the full HD, 1920 by 1080 now. And now here, let's just go 50%, zoom out, so we can actually see the entire scene nicely. And okay, and this will be, I think, everything. Oh no, before we end, let's just go under File and save our project. Obviously, save as. I'll save it on the desktop, new folder. You can just Udemy, maybe this is, I'll name it. You can save it wherever you want to. Now I'll name our project UI design, like this. Okay, and click save. And I think that now everyone's on equal terms, so we'll just continue from this project, and we'll just import a few assets and start designing our app's UI. So see you in the next video.